Good morning. It is Tara, the Mudcreek Stitcher, and I am with you again this morning to I can speak, not really. Continue the Bible study that we're doing. We are in week 2. I'm looking at my book, day 3. It's on page 60, and it's Faith and Fire, Elijah, Priscilla Shire. If you have the book, great. Follow along. If you've already done it and just want to listen while you stitch, great. If you're like, I don't care, okay, great. So it's up to you. So here we go. We're just going to hop right back into it. And I hope I can sneak in another one tomorrow. As I said, I do have company coming and my hair. And it's going to be crazy. So we'll just see. All right, day 3, somewhere in between. If they had been thinking of that country from which they went out, they would have had opportunity to return. But as it is, they desire a better country. Hebrews 11:15-16. And I'm just seeing how long the lesson is. Well, it's not too bad. Okay. Joshua, my friend Shauna's older son, as I shared with you last week, is a cadet at West Point, the United States Military Academy. I've known him since the day he was born, which makes it even harder for me to believe how he's suddenly become a grown man. Not that he wasn't already strong and mature for his age, but he's different now. West Point has made him different. Being a young Army cadet has shaved off whatever remained of any teenage recklessness and frivolity, replacing it with the meaty stuff of refined manhood, the visible bearing of self-discipline, respect, and submission to authority and honor for himself and for others around him. It started in boot camp. First-year cadets, or plebs, those who know, I hope you're saying it for me, as the upperclassmen not so lovingly call them, arrive on campus with few freedoms. The rigid routine of their all-day, all-night schedule is harsh and unforgiving. Every single area of their lives is regulated. Unlike freshmen at other colleges who can trot home every weekend for mama's cooking and laundry services, the rules regarding plebes, I'm going to call them plebes, restrict their family visits to a total of 8 specific days for the entire 2 semesters, none of which exceed a strict 24-48 hours in duration. I don't know if my kids would have made it or us. That's just the military way. In order to be instilled with the mindsets, attitudes, priorities, and behaviors that will make them ready to discharge their duties in any situation, they need a clean, intentional distance from the life they were accustomed to living before entering the academy. They need to resist the urge to go home. So now, page 61. Turn to and read Exodus 15:27. So let's find Exodus 15, Genesis, Exodus. I know where that is. I might not know about Philemon, but by Jove, I know my Exodus. Well, I know where it is. Okay, so 15. And, it's verses 27 through 16:3. 27 verses 16 through 3. Okay, so Moses had his song and Miriam. And now my Bible says the waters of Mara and Elim. That's how I'm going to say it. Mara or Mara. I'm going to say Mara. Okay, so we're past that to 27. Then they came to Elim, I'm not sure, where there were 12 springs and 70 palm trees, and they camped there near the water. The whole Israelite community set out from Elim and came to the desert of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the 2nd month, after they'd come out of Egypt. In the desert, the whole community grumbled against Moses and Aaron. Oh, wow. The Israelites said to them, "If only we had died by the Lord's hand in Egypt." I just heard something about this morning from Pastor Brett, Athey Creek. Interesting. Okay, it's amazing how it all works together. Okay, you're catching the children of Israel after they'd been delivered from Egypt. Check. After they'd been chased by Pharaoh's army. Check. And after they'd escaped through the Red Sea. Check. Write the place name in verse 27 that tells where they'd reach. What was it like? So verse 27, they reached Elim. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. I hope you're fixing it out loud to me right now, but I can't hear you. And, well, there were 12 springs. 12 springs of water, which we have springs around here, and maybe where you live you do too, water bubbling up from underground, and 70 palm trees. So in the wilderness, in the dry desert area, that would be wonderful. According to Exodus 16:1, what was their location? The whole Israelite community set out from Elim and came to the desert of Sin. This place was between Elim, just a second, desert of Sin, and this place was between Elim and where? Came to the desert of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai. Yay. Okay, I'm writing it down. How does verse 2 describe this in-between place? Verse 2. Okay, it says, in the desert, the whole community grumbled. They were in the desert. Okay, so it was a desert. How did the Israelites feel about being there? They grumbled, kind of like me every single day when God asked me to do stuff. Guilty. What did they do against Moses and Aaron? In the desert, the whole community grumbled against Moses and Aaron. They grumbled against Moses and Aaron. Okay. How would you paraphrase the people's complaint about their current situation in verse 3? The Israelites said to them, if only we had died by the Lord's hand in Egypt. So how would you paraphrase the people's complaint? This is a tough one for me because they just witnessed the plagues, the 10 plagues in Egypt. They just watched all those miracles, and then they just watched God part the Red Sea, and they walked on dry ground. That always just makes me go, ooh, and the waters were walls on either side of them as they walked through that. And then they watched as the Egyptian army rode right into the center of it, the water crashed down on their enemy. Gone. And not how many days later, it's already forgotten, and they're already grumbling. And they're already like, we would be better off if we had just stayed in Egypt. If only we had died by the Lord's hand in Egypt. If only they would have died there in Egypt. It just floors me. So let's look at what Priscilla says. They wish they were back home, even if home to them was altogether incompatible with the plan and purpose God had claimed in their lives. Or they wish they were going forward and going there faster. They wanted to hurry on to Sinai, where Moses said he'd met with God face to face. Well, that would get me excited. Where the Lord had said to him, when you've brought the people out of Egypt, you shall worship God at this mountain. Exodus 3:12. I just got to go back and look because I just love Exodus. Exodus 3:12. Exodus 3:12. The burning bush. I'm just going to read this. Now Moses was tending the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian. He led the flock to the far side of the desert and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. There the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames of fire from within a bush. Moses saw that Mount Horeb is Mount Sinai. It's another name for it. There the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames of fire from within a bush. Moses saw that though the bush was on fire, it did not burn up. So Moses thought, I will go over and see this strange sight, why the bush does not burn up. When the Lord saw they had gone over to look, God called to him from within the bush, Moses, Moses. And Moses said, Here I am. Do not come any closer, God said. Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. And then he said, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And at this, Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look at God because he was so sinful. And then, I'm getting off track, and then all the way to 12. The Lord said, I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt. I've heard them crying out because of their slave drivers, and I am concerned about their suffering. So I have come down to rescue them from the hand of the Egyptians and to bring them up out of the land into a good and spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey, the home of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. And now the cry of the Israelites has reached me, and I've seen the way the Egyptians are oppressing them. So now go. I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. But Moses said to God, Who am I, that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? And God said, I will be with you, and this will be the sign to you that it is I who have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you'll worship God on this mountain. So there you go. But from the middle of a dry, barren wilderness, all they could seem to think about were the dinner plates and aromas from the only home they'd ever known. They thought of it even more strongly than the prospect of being close up and personal with God, or moving on from there to the land flowing with milk and honey that they'd been told was in their future. And we have to remember, they had been in Egypt for 400 years. So you have several generations that wouldn't know any better, but they still obviously have been told about God. They obviously still worshiped God, and I don't know who I heard say this, but there was a pastor. I listen to so many pastors. But there was a pastor who had said that the Israelite people had been preserved in Egypt because the Egyptians, they kept them separate from them. They did not want to intermix with them. And this pastor I listened to said that was God actually preserving his people, so they continued to know who he was, and they did worship him, but they were still used to and knew only that life. They'd rather go back, I'm on page 62. They'd rather go back than go forward, or rather go forward than just sit. The worst place of all, they believed, was being stuck there in between. Okay, so now let's look again at 1 Kings 17, 2 through 5. I realize we've been in this passage for an extended stay, but I love studying the Bible this way, bit by bit, line by line, looking again at verse 3. What was the repeated geographical emphasis that was part of God's instructions to Elijah? In which direction did Yahweh want him to head? Okay. Then the word of the Lord came to Elijah. Leave here, turn eastward, and hide in Kerith ravine east of the Jordan. Okay, so once again, what was the repeated geographical emphasis that was part of God's instruction to Elijah? Leave, right? Turn eastward. I'm writing this out now. Turn eastward and hide in Kerith ravine. Hide in the ravine east of Jordan. East of Jordan. Okay. So in which direction did Yahweh want him to head? East. I think I got that. Now flip back to the map located inside the back cover of your book. Flipping. All right. Here it is. If you don't have it, oh shoot, I just lost my spot. But if you don't have it, you could take a screenshot and look at it later. Or you might have your own maps that you look at. I find maps are very helpful the older I get. Okay, so first, circle Samaria. Okay, looking for Samaria. Oh, the Samaritans. Jesus walked through Samaria. This is where Elijah met with Ahab in verse 1, where he was currently located. Okay, so Ahab, he met here. Second, circle Tishbe. Okay, Tishbe, circle. And see the river in the middle. This, you'll recall, is where Elijah was born and raised. Okay, so Elijah, I'm going to write it on the map. Elijah, born. raised. Got it? Third, find the Jordan River. There it is, right in the middle. God had told him to go just east of there to Kerith. Okay, so just east. Consider the geographical position of these places. How would you summarize Elijah's positioning and his potential dilemma? I would say he's possibly trapped. I don't know. I wish y'all could talk and help me. Consider the geographical position of these places. How would you summarize Elijah's positioning and his potential dilemma? I don't know. I hope she gives the answer. Maybe you already know. Elijah had been dead set on going to the palace based on what his prophetic ears had picked up as God's immediate instructions concerning Ahab, he's a really bad king, Israel, and the coming drought. Yahweh's calling on his life had brought him out of his element, away from the comforts and familiarity of his home, down from the mountain passes, and onto the road that led toward Samaria, capital city of the northern kingdom. I'm going to write that down. Samaria, I should have known that. Capital city of northern kingdom, or the 10 tribes of Israel. Okay. Here is where he delivered his one-sentence, long-range forecast to the nation's ruler, making everyone very uncomfortable. I threw in the very. Agitating Samaria's inhabitants with his prophetic declaration. Then God told him to go back east toward home, but not to it. Kerith was the in-between. When was the last time you longed impatiently for home? To go back to the comfort and familiarity of a previous season of life that God clearly called you away from? Let's say every day at work, or just ready to go back home. I don't know. I don't have anything else. Maybe you do, though. I'll let you think about it. Next question. What are the easy-feeling, easy-going allures of home that most frequently tempt you away from the places and expectations that God's Spirit is leading you to press into? I think she kind of said it. Easy-feeling, easy-going, alluring. I'm a homebody. I don't know about you guys, but I like to be home. And that does get in the way of things sometimes. What difficulties or doubts about your current circumstances escalate this desire? Second, my husband's walking in. He really didn't stop me for anything important. Husbands. Love them. Love them. And I'm not going to say anything else. Okay. Moving on. Here we go. I've lost where I was at. Shocker. Oh, there we are. What difficulties or doubts about your current circumstances escalate this desire? I was going to say before he stopped me is that when I am in pain, when I'm hurting and aching and sore and tired, which is getting to be pretty common now as the older I get, I don't want to leave and do anything. And you got to really listen to the Holy Spirit, and you got to push yourself and get yourself out the door. For me, that's what I see. Maybe you have something completely different, and I wish we could talk about it. Maybe you can put it in the comments. The comfort zone of home life can often be just as damaging to our spiritual growth as the enticing attraction of future ambition. That's why sometimes, in order to get us adequately prepared for the moments to come, God may not allow us to return to the way things used to be, the place where we could easily become lulled into complacency. When God needs us bold and fervent and clear of mind, when he wants our faith primed and pregnant for his fire to fall, he'll often call us to an in-between place, not quite where we're going to be, but not all the way back where we were. Elijah's Wadi was in between Samaria and Gilead. Not quite there, not quite here. Neither the center of the action nor the sweet spot of the sofa. That's when you know you're in Kereth. When you feel like you're languishing between the unrealized fruition of well-meaning ambitions and the formerly fine habits and habitats of a former season of your life. When neither one feels open to you with a clear conscience and an assurance of God's leading. In times like these, you'll need to resist two distinct urges. Number one, the temptation to barrel ahead and push the doors of Samaria open yourself in an effort to force God's timing. I think I like to do that. And two, the appeal to run back home where you find there's respite in the form of sameness and settled surroundings. People you've grown to love, things you're accustomed to doing, patterns of behavior that fit around your heart like a fleecy sweatshirt. What's so bad about that? In order to prepare for Carmel, however you pronounce it, God sent Elijah not as far east as Elijah might have preferred to go. But if he hadn't listened and obeyed his Lord, if he'd scurried on home anyway, its comforts could have fostered complacency. And complacency could have robbed him of the character required for Carmel. He wouldn't have had the confidence in God, the trust in God's provision that he learned by experience at the shallow, inadequate, in-between brook called Kereth. And neither will we. Neither will you. The inadequacy of your Kereth is fortifying a holy courage and confidence you'll need for later. Don't shortcut the process. Hebrews 11, the so-called Hall of Faith, tells of men and women throughout biblical history who are willing to stay in between with God despite natural desires that call them elsewhere. They were looking forward to the city that has foundations, whose architect and builder is God. Choose one of the following people to see what you can learn from their experience. I like all three of them. This is hard. You pick yours. I'll just do Noah. He's easy. Noah. The flood. Verse 7. Oh, I have to go to Hebrews 11. Oops. Okay. Let's see if I can find Hebrews. What did we learn yesterday? We learned that I didn't know what Philemon was. That's right. And that I don't know where Hebrews is, too. Found it. Okay, there's Philemon. That's right, Philemon, and then Hebrews right after. Okie artichoke. Okay, chapter 11 in Hebrews. Hebrews. Still going. Chapter 11. Still going. I bet you're already there. Chapter 11, verse 7. Noah, by faith, Noah, when warned about things not yet seen in holy fear, built an ark to save his family. By faith. I have to read the next one. By his faith, he condemned the world and became heir of the righteousness that comes by faith. By faith. So, and Abraham, Moses. Pretty sure it's all going to be about faith. Yep, Abraham. By faith. Abraham. By faith. Abraham. And Moses. By faith. Moses. So, I think I got it. What did God call this person to do? Noah, by faith, he called him to go to a place he would later... Oh, sorry, that's Noah. By faith, Noah, when warned about things not yet seen, holy fear, built the ark to save his family. By faith, he built the ark. How would going home or staying home have changed his future? Well, God would have started all over. There wouldn't be anyone left. What did God enable him to accomplish through trust and faith? To build a very large ark and not to conform to the world around him, which would be really tough. Because look at us right now. It's Pride Month. I mean, it's hard. It's hard not to conform. Look at the shootings, and people just want revenge. And I mean, I don't know. It's hard. Look at what's offered now that through technology. I mean, it's hard. It's hard not to conform. My friend's son Joshua is making a fine soldier. He's becoming more of a man, able to endure tougher challenges and impossible situations than he likely ever dreamed himself capable of doing. Staying home would be nice. Even visiting there on a more frequent basis during college would feel like a real blessing to him and his mom. But the courage required to be a military officer who is equipped and readied for the future cannot be curated in the cozy comforts of his childhood home. Life in the middle can be unsettling, but don't be discouraged. Stay put, trust God, and in due time, He'll move you on. All right, that is day 3 done by faith. By faith. I got to remember that. I try to, and then things happen, and then I forget again. So I have a feeling many of you understand that as well. So anyways, I will try and sneak in day 4 hopefully this week. It'd be awesome if I got day 5 done as well, because there's still a lot to go in this book. I keep thinking I can get it done before school, but then I have doubts. But by faith, I need to trust I can get it done. So thanks for joining me again, and I hope you're getting something out of this. If not, I'm really sorry. So but above all else, just always read the Bible. Read it yourself. Find the Word, because the Word is God actually speaking to you. So have a good day, and God bless you.